Hi, welcome to our presentation on medium to high-rise construction. We've looked at two buildings specifically, high-rise apartment buildings to be built in the Gold Coast. So the two buildings are the Opus and the Encore, both situated in Broadbeach. Opus is being constructed by the Morris Property Group. It's a 27-storey building plus 4 stories of basement. Currently valued at $115 million and has 99 two-bed apartments, 13 3-bed and 1 penthouse. Whilst the Encore, being constructed by Hutchinson's, is a 25-storey development with 84 apartments and is valued at $78 million. The retaining systems being used for the basement excavations are different in each of the buildings. At the Opus, they're using secant piling, which are with permanent retaining walls. They're using male and female piling. So the primary piles are the smooth piles, which are soft classification, whilst the secondary piles are the rougher piles and are classed as a hard classification. And these walls are being braced prior to the slabs being poured at the higher levels. At the Encore, they're using sheet piling, as can be seen in this image. That's interlocking panels to retain the soil. These are used for deep basin excavations such as this, and they're supported through anchors that are drilled into the rock. The dewatering systems at both sites are pretty similar. There are a large number of projects happening in the area, and due to this, the water table is a little lower than it would be otherwise. Encore, for example, drilled 5 different well points and are only using 4 because of this. And so one of the well points can be seen in the top picture. That's at Encore, and so the water is carried out of the site and into a filtration tank, which is the blue device in the lower picture. The water here is filtered out, so about meters cubed of sand per day is filtered out prior to the water being moved into the storm water system. And this water is checked on a weekly basis to ensure that it meets legislation. There is also a generator on site in case there's any power outages to ensure that there are no problems with the dewatering system, because it would flood the area if there was to be any problems. With regards to dilapidation reports, these need to be carried out prior to construction and during construction of the neighbouring buildings. So pre-construction, the neighbouring buildings are checked by a surveyor, they're measured and photographed as to any damages that may already be on these buildings, and then on a monthly basis a surveyor comes in to check each of these buildings, check for cracking or anything to ensure that there are no problems occurring to the neighbouring buildings.
A tower crane has been used at the Opus site. The tower crane has the ability to essentially build itself. As the development gets higher over time, the tower crane can lift itself up and insert extra pieces to go higher. The Encore site currently wasn't ready for the crane, so they're using a mobile crane just to install stuff and get anything in they need to get in. There is a section for it, just the concrete hasn't been poured, and yeah. Both sites using the same scaffolding system. It's mainly there for safety purposes. All the scaffolding is around waist height or just above waist height, so it doesn't let you sort of fall off or try to jump off. That's why the mesh is there as well. It also allows you to transport yourself up and down the site. So the sites aren't very accessible and they're quite a large sort of hole in the ground. So the scaffolding just allows you to move up and down. freely. At the stage when we arrived on site, we didn't get to see much false work, but the main one was pretty large, which is these steel members. They're actually welded to the plates around the edges here, and once the next slab is poured and set, these members will be removed. There's sort of two main areas of formwork we saw. The first one was with the elevator shaft, which you can see here. The tradies up the top there are fixing the formwork, ready for concrete to be poured. So once it's poured, the formwork will be removed, or once the concrete's set as well. Over here, we can see the steel reinforcement out of the ground. Obviously, there's no formwork around it now, but eventually there will be formwork around it, and the concrete will be poured. Once set, again, it'll be removed. Both sites consist of raft slabs. They've been poured in 3 different sections. This is because the sites are so large and so much concrete needs to be pumped in, and they just didn't have the ability to pump all the concrete in at the one time. This just helps with having a split concrete system, split slab system allows the slab just to last longer. Also helps with cracking, so it has the ability to just move around a little bit. As well as that, it can just be repaired much easier. Instead of removing all of it, you can just remove little sections of it. As the site, at the time we arrived, there was no walling systems in place and we didn't know what they were, so we had to make an assumption. We're basically just going to use a steel framing system. The steel frame system will be just made at a prefabrication plant. This allows us to bring steel to the site whenever we need it in a timely manner. Eventually, once the walls are fixed into place, there'll be cladding, or there'll be insulation put inside, and then cladding screwed in, fixed off, and then further obviously painting and whatnot. Again, like the wall system, we don't know what flooring system they're going to use, so we made an assumption. A steel frame again used just helps with timing on site. With the flooring system, there'll be a structural steel outline, which will just help support the building, give the building strength. In the gaps in between, basically just simple steel flooring system will be used. In between levels and on top of the flooring systems near the walls, there'll be steel joist used. This just allows us to run our cables, plumbing, stuff like that. Allows us for any services that we need, and can also create sort of a noise barrier, so we block some sound out. Lastly, we just want to thank the site manager, Gavin Murphy from the Hutchie site, and the Morris Property site manager, who we didn't get his name, but yeah. Yay.